6:30 Thursday afternoon, and we're going to have just a short special meeting, and the first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
I can move to approve the agenda.
I will second that.
By Carr, second by Campbell to approve. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Public comment, anyone by phone this morning or this afternoon? We don't have anyone in person. Okay. Item 3, review action regarding hiring aerial services incorporated to process a LiDAR data for Drainage District 3. What they did initially when they flew the ditch, they took images, of course, and they sent them to the supervisors, and I think maybe, I don't know if anybody else got them, but it was a huge file, 3 gigabytes. I couldn't download it on my computer. I met with Bernie Monday morning and asked him to help me. He couldn't do it either, but he did it on his own computer and has some snapshots of the images that he was able to download, and those images don't show any of the data that we're looking for, the slope of the ditches and so on. So this is the next step, is analytics of that data so that we can figure out and actually see what the slope of the ditches are, and if they're 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 1 to 1, whatever they are. So that's the purpose of this, and this analytics is $2,500.
2560.
560.
2560.
2560, okay.
That's what he said in the presentation. Last whenever he was here.
And the previous photos or images that were taken were 5,300. So we can't benefit from them unless we do the analytics, and that's the purpose for this special meeting.
I just have a question. What are we doing with that slope information? Is it you're looking for things to do another project to get the slopes that you desire, or what's the intent?
It's not what we desire, it's what the contract said it would be, 2 to 1 slope. And there's some concern that maybe some of them are steeper than that. And that's why they're having trouble. Seed didn't stay on them when they were seeded.
And can you show me in the contract where it says the slopes are supposed to be 2 to 1 across that open ditch?
I haven't looked at it lately, but Fulton and Nick can tell you that. Actually, more desirable would be 3 to 1, but I'm not an engineer.
And so the intent is, if it's supposed to be 3 to 1, for example, then we'll have more project costs to the drainage district to get them to that.
I don't think the project cost would be to the district. They've done it. If that would be the case, and it's not what it's supposed to be, it's not the project's fault. It's the engineer or the contractor didn't do it correctly.
But if it's takes more dirt to get them to slope on, that was all those costs were all had material costs to them. So that would be a cost to the district.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I guess I'd have to maybe Todd Pritchard or maybe Tyler. If they weren't done correctly in the first place and they need to be corrected, it isn't the cost for the landowners to do that. It should be Colton, me, or Larson.
I wish you knew that for sure, that that's where they would go, because that would be the case for materials.
Well, like I said, we're just trying to find out if the slopes are correct, and if they're not, if they need to be corrected. That's the purpose of this analytics.
And the specifics in the specifications were that the slopes will be designed to these certain specific slopes, that they'll have these certain dimensions. That's what you're saying, that the contract is about, that it'll be designed to these
That's right.
specifications.
That's my understanding, yes.
That's your understanding?
Yes.
And if you're not correct, it would be a cost to the project. I mean, a cost to the landlord.
Right.
Okay.
It's already a cost to
Clear.
the landowners for the 5,300 that we've spent.
Well, and the 2,300, 2,560, as well as project work.
Right. The original project was 5,300 for the flyover, for the LiDAR. Now, to be able to read that information, we need to do the 2,500.
I understand, I'm talking about work after that. If a slope isn't where you want it to be, if you're 100% sure that, because that's a whole different project.
Correcting it.
If that's what the specifications were about. I don't know, Boyd, when you guys were out on site, was there any talk about slopes and where they should?
Yeah, we met out there, and it was muddy that day, and nobody could climb or go out in the fields and everything. Uh, um, okay, not Travis, but from Bolton Mink, Tyler, excuse me. Yeah, trying to remember his name there. He said some of the slopes, they tried for 2-to-1, and some maybe 3-to-1 because of the difference in the soil types. Some won't lay as steep as others, so they have, it might have been more than a 2-to-1. He did say if the slopes had to be 3-to-1 or something like that, that takes up a lot more area of the farmers' fields. And but he thought, that they were correct, that they took measurements, as they went, and as accurate as you can get with those big machines. Those guys are good. Then he thought everything would be fine. And after, looking them over as a layman, and I just, I thought they looked fine, but I think there's question that people think that, they're not done right. And even though I'm also a person of the District 3, I got a dog in this fight. A lot of them thought that, the extra money is worth it to find out that it was done right. So I guess, that's what I know about the slopes anyway.
And was anything said at that, if slopes aren't to the 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 specifications, what happens then?
Well, I guess that would be up to us and Bolton Mink, I would think, what we thought of that or how far off they might be. And because what you would have to do is go in with, the heavy equipment again and pull that dirt, one way or the other. Or if it's not 2-to-1, you'd have to make it steeper or not less steep. And so nothing was really discussed exactly, but I know we can't do anything now, and they were going to, in the interim, reseed that and rough the area up. Now, since then, it has not rained one bit. And so, a lot of this is with weather. And so far, even if he got it seeded, there's been no rain. You need rain. And so I guess we're kind of at the point where if this satisfies, the people of District 3 that that this is done right, then I think so be it. And we'll move on,
Well, I think there's 8,000 acres in District DD3, right?
I didn't think it was that much, but I could be wrong. It runs 4 miles. Well, you mean all the acres? Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Okay.
Not just the
Um,
ditch.
yeah, that could be correct. I'm not sure about that, how many acres, but that's probably pretty close.
So this would be roughly 80 cents an acre to the property ownership to do this project and try to get some clarity.
Yeah,
You're- This
that's
part,
probably right.
not additional work, if there's dirt work that needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah, if it's way off, I mean, we're stalked that they haven't done it right, and you'd pull the bond, and then the work would be paid, that way. I'm not familiar with exactly how that works entirely, but I'm sure somebody could fill me in. But um, so anyway, that's where it's at, I guess.
I talked to Nathan Ike this morning that would do, or his company would do this analysis, and I asked him how long he thought it would take, and he thought about a week.
Oh, to come up with the results, Dennis? Is that what you're saying? Okay. I I don't know. This Zoom is kind of it's not instantaneous. I missed any comments made there.
I'll repeat, I called Nathan Ike with Aerial Services this morning and asked him if we had him go ahead and do this analysis, how long it would take, and he said about a week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
Any other comments, Boyd, or?
no, I just would like to move on with this, I guess, because we got other districts, drainage districts that we need to look at, so I would like to move on. I would make the motion that we, in regards we hired Aerial Services to process this information with LiDAR data for the drainage district number 3, and we go ahead and give them the okay to do this.
I'll second the motion for the $2,560 for aerial services to process and get the information from LiDAR.
So we have a motion by Campbell, second by Carr, to engage Aerial Services to do the analytics on Drainage District 3 for $2,560. Any more discussion?
Thank you, Gloria, for adding the 2,500. I forgot that. That's important.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Carr, second by Campbell to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed.
Well, Morgan,